Good evening and welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a bit since my last update, and truthfully I haven't really gotten very far. Life, the universe, and everything's kind of gotten in the way for a bit, but I did get some work done and wanted to update just, where I am on the T-36 and T-36, T-35, goodness, T-35, and also point out I did find a couple of gotchas. So couple of things I've gotten as far as putting the upper rollers and this outer skirt housing on the lower hull, and in doing so I did come up with a couple of I did figure out a couple of things that made me change my mind as far as how I was going to do some things. So I know I originally said I was going to leave these off and paint them later, and as it turns out, it really would be a bear to get them put on after I paint all this. So, and then I started looking at the upper roller. I was thinking maybe I'll do the upper rollers later, but all of that piece just sort of works out that you really kind of need to put them on to get on and paint them in situ. Point, you can see that, goodness, it would probably help if I stayed in camera. So point, you can see here that tab broke off on this, so you're going to be making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10 or 12 of these things, and the tips on those pieces when you go to do them are pretty fragile, so be careful, they will break off. I did find that you can make these roll, but it really doesn't matter since you're not going to be actually rolling your tracks, so just gluing those in. You can still get at them where they are, so once we get the base coat down and painted, we will be able to get at them. So as I did say, I found a couple of gotchas, and that's one of them, right? So putting those things on, turns out that that's going to be a bit challenging if you don't. So I did go ahead and do those. Then I went ahead and did the bogies, right? So there are a bunch of bogies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8 of them. You're going to make 8 bogey sets as you put them on. Something you're going to find out is this piece here, so A18. And so there's A18, there's A20, and you're going to find that there is different size pegs on A18. The holes on A20 and A12 and A13, right? The holes on the inside of them are different sizes. So these pegs, it actually matters how you put them in. And you really can't see it here, but it's this piece that's sitting right here between. So this is the one piece, this is the other piece, and this piece sitting right here. The two tabs that go right here, it actually is relevant because those, if you put the wrong side in, you can't then turn around and get the other side put on. And I found that on the second one I did. The first one I actually did it by accident correctly. The second time I went to do it, it didn't work. So it was a problem. And that's when I realized what the problem was. And then I made sure I, fixed it when I went through the rest of the time. Going through and making the rest of the bogies, I mean, that's a matter of patience and just putting the pieces together and trimming. There's a bunch of sanding yet to be done at a couple of join parts. Make sure you watch for the tip on those so you actually have the orientation piece for this upper plate. So when you're cutting this piece off, just make sure you leave the tab part on. I wasn't paying attention the first time I did it, but I accidentally did it right. And then I realized as I was using it that, I could have very easily made that mistake. The instructions aren't super clear. They don't really, and that like I said, this piece they don't really warn you about. This says snap. And what they're talking to is they're talking about this. So the spring part, right? So it just snaps onto that center, the spring part here. There we go. This one here. it'll snap onto that centerpiece there, and then you can just drop these into place. So they go into place fairly easily. And what I think where I am now, and one of the reasons I've been sort of stalled, is I have to go ahead and do all the tracks together, but life has sort of gotten in the way, so I haven't really had the opportunity to sit and assemble the track pieces. So as I look at the way this goes on, the assemble of this, these will just drop right in here, and they will push fit fairly easily in place. Now, the other thing you'll notice is they also are sided. So this one goes on this side. Right. So, you will find out as you get through doing these things, they'll go together appropriately. And then you go and you put all these on. What I'm going to try to do, and we'll see if I actually get there. I'm going to try to, I would like to paint the bogies separately. So I'd like to sort of assemble all this, put the hull together, put this part of the hull together, as I can slide the track up in on here once I have this on, after I've painted it all together. So I'd like to go ahead and assemble the main hull, the bogies separately, the turrets separately. So these turrets here, and the track, and sort of then I'll also have the side plates. Now the side plates, I think I can put on with white glue, do the painting with it that way, then go back and glue it on after painting's done. I think that's kind of the direction I'm going to go with it, as I think. And again, I'm still just mostly thinking my way through this one, but looking at how this all goes together. So we have like this plate here goes on the front here after all that's on, so I can probably put that on with white glue and then paint over it before I put the track on, then pop it off, put it back on after I've done the track, so I can do the track separately. So I think that will work. I will find out obviously when I get there. There's another gotcha. I thought. Oh yeah. So these pieces, it all pretty much goes together well. You want this piece here, which is toward the front of where the idler wheel is. It sort of slots in, and this is the one where you're sort of just sticking it together earlier on. And you don't really have much of an orientation. So that the angle might be off of it. It's this one here. So the angle may be off just a little bit when you go to do this. And all I had to do was just bend it up a little bit, because I did have the angle off on one of them. But for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward build so far. There's only been, like I said, that couple of gotchas, and it's more a matter of being able to see what you're doing and look ahead to what's laying ahead of you on the build. I do need to go back and do some more cleanup on these, and I was trying to sand those down before I put it on, and I found that it was very, very flimsy, and I can't really get into it and sand it well. Now that this is on, it's reinforced, and I can actually get in there well with a sanding stick and sand those off much better. So it actually does do you well to go ahead and glue this piece here on before you go back and sand, and then you can clean up those attachment points. So anyway, again, I apologize for being a bit slow on the updates on this one. I've just the workshop time has been slow, and I don't know, hopefully we'll be able to get back here a little bit more next week and get to having the tracks done and just spend an evening or two putting tracks together. And because this is actually pretty straightforward. You just need to put the links together, fit it all on, and then I can just make it so that I can pop it off and paint those separately, and then move on to the next step, which is 19. So this will just take me a bit to do. And then once we get into there, we're kind of winding down. We're at the final little. You're going to do the main turret, put the side skirts on. So after the tracks, it's just the main turret and that. There's a lot of interior for the main turret, and I may do that so that I can leave the door open. If I do that, then it'll be a matter of how am I going to paint it. So we'll be thinking about it. But there we go. That's where we are so far. I'm saying a lot. I apologize. That's the T-35 land battleship. Next installment. So I guess that's installment 3. And I will go ahead and pull this video to an end here, and hopefully be back again soon. And in the meantime, I hope you're enjoying this, that this is somewhat useful for you. And, happy modeling, everybody. Talk to you later.